And hello and welcome. My name is Martin, and today what we're going to be doing is covering navigation systems. So if you will make a copy of the, flamethrower, the flaum thrower, and make a copy of it, copy paste it, create one that's called navigation systems. Once it's been copied, change the name. Remember, we want to keep this small, so project 12 nav sys. That should be more than adequate. Double click on it to open it. I've already got mine open. There it is. And just to show you what I've done real quick is because the major complaint that I'm getting from most people is that with the pawns, what happens is regardless of what level they're on, they all try to attack you at the same time, right? Because their thing is as long as the character is inside of the navigation area, then we're going to swoop down and attack them, right? But we want this to happen on certain levels. We want this to happen at different heights. And I actually am looking at this and I may not have made this actually tall enough. So what I'm going to do is do that now. Let's just make this high enough so then that way we can actually feel the differences. And let's do the same thing with this one. We'll make that quite a bit taller and we'll put the stairs, let's say, okay, let's give that thing more steps. Okay, that should be enough to get me up there. And same thing with this. Just enough to get me up there. Okay, so now we have quite a bit of a difference, at least the character height difference between the first floor, the second floor, and the third floor, right? So when we actually go put in the code, this should work. And let me dig my missile out of the ground. There they are. And let's grab that other missile and put it up there. Now the other thing we also want to do is we want to make sure that our navigation is actually covering all all three of the areas that we want. So let's go ahead and make our navigation system tall enough. Whoops, that is not the navigation system. Let's grab the nav mesh. And I think it's this one. There it is. Okay. Okay. So now we have green on the second layer, green on the first layer, green on the third layer. And again, let me move this eye up so that he is at least visible. Okay. All right, fantastic. So there we go. So at this point, what we're going to do is let's go to content, let's go to first person, and let's go to the homing missiles, which are the ones that are actually working off of the AI, and the pawn moving, and the way that they sense obviously is through the navigation system and our character coming into that navigation system because that's the way that we have them set up. So we actually don't need to make any more of the homing missiles. What we're actually going to do is, since we have an AI that's attached to this, we are going to duplicate the AI twice so that we're actually going to come up with 3 AIs, one for each of the individual levels. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this one underscore LV1. So I know that that's level 1. I'm going to click on this guy, go to the N underscore LV2. Go to the last guy, double click on him or it, and this one, let's call it LV3. Okay, so now we have one, I love when they don't rename, underscore LV1. Okay. So now we have a homing missile A or AI1 LV1, AI2 LV2, and AI, and this one just didn't take the whole name, or I must have erased part of it. So H missile underscore AI 3 underscore, and the LV should still be there. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our 3. So what we basically need to do now is we need to figure out what the height differences are for each one of the platforms, where our character is most likely where their z-axis is going to be, right? Because x, y would give us length and longitude, and then z would be up or down. So let's go into the first piece of code, or the first AI, and what we're actually going to need to build is a branch condition. And this is going to be coming off of the AI move to. So I'm going to grab this, which is the custom event, which is coming off of the ticker clock, or the get timer, set timer. Let's add the branch. Okay, we can go ahead and plug this one in. This is going to be coming off of the true statement. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up a condition that says if the character is not within this height range, then don't go after him. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get world location. So get world location. If you don't see it, click there and you will. Okay, next thing that we need to do is get player pawn. Get player pawn. Okay, we're going to attach this here. It's going to get a little box which is going to tie this into the root component, so the whole player. All right, and then from there what we need to do is we need to break out the x, y, and z value, because remember when it's yellow, that's giving us vector information. So what I'm going to type in here is break and vector. All right, so we hit break and vector and we get both the z, the y, the x, y, and the z axis. Now here what it's doing is it's converting it into a float. So what we need to do is find what's called in range float. So in range float. Okay, and what this nice little guy is going to do is it's going to say, okay, off of the z value, all right, so this is the value that we're checking against. If it is between this maximum and this minimum, then return the value yes. And if that's the case, what we're doing then is we're going to say, okay, then move, right? So now the big thing is where are these values? How do we get those values? So I'm just going to hit compile and save because we're almost there on that. Now we just need to go in and figure out where our values are. So the easiest way for me to do the values would be to, if I grab an object, I know that the values that it's giving me over here on the left or the right hand side, this location value, the last one is the z-axis, right? So if I go down to the very base of this floor, right where the z-axis is disappearing right into the floor, so that's about where the floor starts, I can see that that's about 190. Now I can check that against the level of the height of the second platform. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using the vertice of anything, really any object, to figure out, so that's about 170, and the top of this floor is going to be about 520. So between 170 and 520. Now I'm going to look at where my character, so if I come over to my character and I click on them, and I see that my vertice is going to be, hitting too many buttons. My vertice is going to be about here in the middle. So somewhere between 170 and 520. All right. Knowing that I knocked myself all the way out. Let's just go back into the code for that. Okay, so I'm going to go into my first AI again. And I know that the lowest value would be 170. So let's make it, I don't know, let's say 170. So if it's the minimum 170 to the maximum, we said about 520. So let's make it 500. Whoops. Doesn't look like 500. All right. So now we have the range for the first floor. So essentially what we're saying is get the player's location, Then break that out into an X, Y, and Z axis. Bring that minimum, or bring the Z value over into the in-range float. Give that float a value from minimum to maximum. So between those two numbers, this condition will happen. And then we attach that to the true part of the branch, and then that sends us to the AI move to, which then should make that character move. Okay, so then this would be the first AI. So let's go ahead and hit compile and save, and let's move to the second one. Okay, so we'll double click on the second one, and you know what we could do? We could just grab a whole bunch of this and say Control C to copy, go to the second one, do a Control V to paste. I already know. Well, I should get rid of this one. We'll drag that one out. We'll go ahead and connect. Okay, so essentially everything's the same. The only thing that we need to do is find the new value system and plug that in. So I'm going to take my little S-Mine measuring tool, and we're going to say that between 520, and essentially it doesn't need to be any higher than the characters, where the character's center point is going to be. So let's say 520 to about 850. That sounds pretty good. Let's open up our AI, and we'll type in, let's make it to where he gets up the stairs first. So let's put this 560, let's say 600. So he gets up the stairs. So his vertice, the main character's vertice, will at least get up above the stairs before the thing starts to attack us. So 600 by, what do we say, 850? So that should be good for that one. And let's hit compile and save. And let's go into the third AI. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to paste. Let's grab this guy, move him over. This is the one from the other one that we don't need. Bring this in. Go ahead and attach it. Okay, and again, we need to go and find the value system. So for this one, we would say that that it would be about right there. So that would be 1220, and let's say 12. Well, let's make it. Let's say 1200 to 1300, because the guy, we're not flying either. All right, so let's go there. Let's click 1200 by, what do we say, 15. All right, so compile and save. Okay, so now we have our first AI, which is going to be running between 170 and 500. The second AI is going to be running between 600 and 850. And the third AI is going to be running between 1200 and 1500. Okay, so now the big thing would be to assign the correct AI to each one of our pawns. Okay. So let's see. So the two that are going to be on the floor are going to receive AI1. So I'm going to click on them individually. Okay, and I'm going to come over here, and I see that this is set up to AI3. So let's go ahead and put this on the first one, level 1. Let's go to the second one. Let's put him, or this one again, on level 1. Let's go to this one and set this one up on level 2. And let's go to this one, and that one is already set up on level 3. So theoretically, everything should be working. So let's go and check. So we'll hit play. And notice, well, I haven't gotten into the navigation mesh yet. So nobody's coming after me yet. I'm going to walk into the first one. Only the first pawn came after me. So I'm going to walk into the second one. So remember that we tried to get this to where I had to jump a little, but we got that to work. The other two have not moved yet. Okay, let's walk down here. And there we go. Okay, So let's do one more check. And this time I'm going to walk out onto the floor at the bottom, and I want to see that none of the other ones come after me. And it looks like they have stayed in their position. Sorry, that was an alarm clock letting me know school's about to start. Okay, that one works. And that one works as well. All right, fantastic. So that is how to set up different AIs to be able to work with your pawns on different levels. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.